Mayor Rosalyn Bliss. Mayor, appreciate you taking the time here. First question, I've asked quite a few people with the city, including Mark Washington, the city manager. What are your emotions and feelings seeing what's happened to the city that you run tonight?
I have so many feelings. In fact, I just got done walking around with a couple folks, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
What steps does the city take as soon as tomorrow?
You know, so for me, my number one priority is still safety. There's a lot of people still downtown. Even in the time I was out walking, I saw a lot of violence still happening, a lot of windows being broken and looting. So we have got to stabilize and get people home and get the crowds dispersed. And my number one concern right now is safety. So safety for the people who are out, safety for our officers, the people who are trying to create some calm.
Mayor Bliss, a lot of the leaders we've spoken to tonight said they were disappointed to know that this started out to be something very peaceful in Rosa Parks Circle, and that is not what we're seeing right now. What is that? Does it disappoint you to know that this is where we are after midnight on Sunday morning?
Yeah, it is disappointing. I think there's a stronger word for. I'm trying to think of a stronger word, but earlier today, there was this incredible, show of support in our community. People coming together and in solidarity and locking arms and, sharing their pain and their grief and their outrage about the killing of George Floyd and, calling for change. And I know that the people who planned the earlier march and the gathering, they were very, very clear that it was intended to be a peaceful protest. And so I am unbelievably disappointed that it escalated and we are still dealing with this kind of violence downtown right now.
Mayor, this certainly won't be the last protest that Grand Rapids ever sees. It may not be the last protest we see in regards to the George Floyd killing. What steps maybe do you think could have been taken tonight to try and prevent this that may be taken in the future? And I understand that we're still kind of in the fog of war, as it were, for a phrase, and there'll be more time for assessment tomorrow, but is there anything that you can think of that maybe would have helped prevent this?
That's a great question, and I know we will be debriefing and we'll be bringing people together to answer that very question. I mean, we have long been proud in our city to be a city that allows and welcomes and encourages and respects protests. We've had them throughout, at least my entire time on the commission, and we have a process for it, and we have deep respect for that in our community. And so, I hope that this doesn't change that. I think there are important things for people to come together and to protest and to join voices around issues that they care deeply about. And so, I think we will have to take a look back and figure out what we could have done to prevent it. But I don't know at this point. I've not seen the likes of this type of violence, and so I think it's going to take some time to not just assess, but really debrief and bring people together and talk about how do we make sure this doesn't happen again.
Mayor Bliss, we had reporters on the street who said at no point did they see protesters touch the police officers or vice versa. The police never interacted negatively with the protesters. What do you say to the ability of the GRPD tonight, the demonstration, that they maintained this kind of wellness?
They did not put hands on the protesters
right
at any point in time, I think, is what we're trying to get at, Mayor.
And how did that, the GRPD do you think they've done a great job tonight in terms of what's happened?
I do, and we, the level of professionalism and restraint, I think we all can be really proud of. And I also want to say how much I appreciate all of our surrounding jurisdictions and the county and the state police who stepped in to help. I mean, that's the collaborative spirit that we have in this community. You know, people, our organizations, they work together, and you see that even in law enforcement coming together. And even when I was just walking around, you know, they clearly are trying to disperse the crowd and use as little force as possible to do that. So I'm very grateful for the professionalism, and then I think restraint is the best word that we're seeing.
Mayor, last question, and we'll let you get out. Several other cities around the country have instituted curfews to varying degrees of success. Is that something that you are going to be considering moving forward into Sunday night?
I am going to consider that. I'm sure I'll be here a lot later, and then first thing tomorrow morning with our emergency operating center, and we'll be talking about next steps. Like I said, my number one priority is to keep people safe, and if enacting a curfew for a small, a short period of time will help us do that, then I'm willing to do that. But that safety right now continues to be my number one priority. My hope and prayer is that no one is injured tonight, and that we don't see a continued escalation of violence.
All right, Grand Rapids Mayor Rosalyn Bliss, we sincerely appreciate your time tonight, and here's hoping that we wake up to a much better city tomorrow than what we've seen this evening.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you.